Well, hello everybody. Thanks so much for joining me and welcome to another fine art composite image creation and book cover creation. So we are going to take the next about 2 hours and we are going to power through a fine art composite image and then turn it into a book cover. Now, hopefully it will not take that long. I'm hoping to kind of really rock out and go fast on this one, but sometimes it takes up to 2 hours. So I hope you will stick with me as we are creating this. Now we will have a speed edit version of this later on today. And you get to input what we are going to be doing. So you get to help me pick some photos. You get to help me create the world that we're doing. You get to help pick with the fake title and tagline and write up for this book. It's going to be awesome, and I cannot wait to hear your opinions. So you get to help me out with things like color choices and what we're going to be doing. And today I'm really excited because we are creating a levitation image that is also flying books. So I am known for a couple different things in my photography, my use of motion, my use of light, and I have a couple series that I'm very well known for, and one of those is my Reading Transforms Flying Book Collection. So we are going to be doing one of those today. I'm really excited because we're going to have some flying books in the image, and I've got a levitation image which we're going to create. So levitations are really fun for me. I don't technically do them the way that most people do them because a lot of levitation imagery in photography is going to be shot in a studio and then kind of changed to make it look like it's a levitation image. And I do some of that, but this particular one tends to be, and what I do for most of my levitation images is actually motion and movement, and requires jumping in the air, a lot of jumping in the air. So you're going to see a picture of, this one is a self-portrait of me. And I went out by a fallen tree and I started jumping up and down a lot. And I got a couple of really good images that I love from that. I picked one and we're going to turn it into our book cover today. So here we go. We're going to jump in. I'm going to screen share and you are going to be able to see exactly what I'm doing in Photoshop. Now, while you are here, go ahead and leave me some comments below because I want to hear from you guys. I want to know your opinions, what you're thinking on things, so that it's not just me talking and teaching how to do this. Now, if you are an author friend of mine joining me, yay, I'm so glad to see you. Welcome. I am going to be using big photography and Photoshop terms. So I am educating on how to do this. So if some of it goes over your head, don't worry about it. It's okay. Photographers get it. It's all good. All right, so here we go. I am going to go ahead and move over to my screen and we're going to jump in. Let me know when you get here. Leave me comments so that I can talk to you. It will be off to the side, so I may not see it right as you post it, but I will be checking frequently. So here we go. All right, this is the image we are working with today. I'm going to pull up my screen so that I can see what I am doing. And I'm going to move my broadcast screen over to the side. Here we go. All right, so I've got this beautiful image. As you can see, I am not on the ground. And I have actually taken this dress that I am using and I have changed the color a little bit. So just FYI, I popped this into Lightroom before we got started, and I turned a black dress into a greenish dress, but I'm not fully happy with it yet. I actually want to go ahead and I want to make it more green. So check it out. This is the finalized green image. I took some of that green off, and now I'm going to add a layer. And I'm going to say it is a green dress, and I'm going to grab my color picker, and I'm going to grab that green tone that I really liked, and I am going to then let someone know that I am live on Facebook. Give me 1 second. And sorry, that's my artist. She was coming to join us, but she wasn't sure where to find us. So I'm going to grab that color that I really like, and on that layer, I'm going to go in and I'm going to paint on my green color. So I'm actually going to zoom in pretty far. As you can see, we've got some green, more of that jeweled tone green. So I'm going to start painting it on here, and then I'm going to go down and change to color. And check that out. It's a subtle difference, but it's definitely there. It's definitely noticeable. So I'm going to tap it on where I want it. And then when I get down to the lower areas, I'm actually going to reduce my opacity because these are see-through layers of the fabric, and I don't want to overrun it with color because that would be too bright and too weird. So we are going to just tap that on here, and I'm going to go through and just tap it into certain areas. where I want just a little bit more color in there. And that is my first step. That is the first thing that I wanted to handle on this. And then I'm going to get into doing a little bit of basic retouching, and then we're going to add some books. Yes, Alexis is here, and she loves it. Woohoo! I'm glad that you like that, Alexis. So we are creating a levitation image today with flying books. So we finish tapping on, and then we are going to go check those out. Look at those feet. How marvelous is that? You got to nail the foot placement when you are doing this as a levitation image, because if you don't, it's just not going to look believable. And this is soft and gorgeous and glorious, and I am such a big fan. So I went and I grabbed my spot heel brush, and I am just going to do a tiny bit of retouching. And then I'm going to go up, and I actually need to zoom in even farther here. And I'm going to grab my clone tool. I'm going to have a small brush size, and I'm going to reduce my opacity to 28%. And I'm going to get rid of some of that darkness under the model's eyes there. And I don't want to get rid of all of it. I just want to lighten it just a little bit. And I can grab from the cheek, and I can grab from the forehead, depending on what lighting is going to work there. And then we are just going to do a little bit of touch up. Sorry, my computer glitched. I was getting a phone call, and my phone call had come through on my computer as well. And so I caught it before it actually rang. But you know, it makes things glitch a little bit. I am going to touch up this one hair here. I don't really like that. I'm not really feeling that. So I am on my spot heel. And I'm going to fix that, but it kind of gave me some weird little looks there, so I'm going to grab that clone tool, and I'm just going to grab the hair that's in the same direction, and I'm just going to paint over it so that it kind of flows a little bit better. There we go. That's a little bit better, I think. And I'm going to add a little darkness where I don't want the light necessarily to be. You guys know, if you've been following me, that I like to play with my light a lot, and I will do that with dodging and burning, but I'm not at that point where I want to do that yet. So I am going to grab my sharpening tool, and I'm just going to go over the eyes just a little bit because I want to define those lashes just a touch. Awesome. All right, so let me pull back. And here's our image. So this is what we're working with today. We've got this gorgeous image. We're definitely going to play with light here. We are definitely changing the way that this is working. But before I do that, before I get to any of the lighting, I'm actually going to add in my flying books. So here we go. We're going to start adding in books. And I have created an entire collection of books, which you cannot see. It's on a side screen, but we're going to see it in just a second. And I have taken these books and I have photographed them over the years, and I have cut them out so that they are in PNG form. And I will be able to just drag and drop wherever I want. Now, I am in my file and I am searching for the correct ones because I have so very many of these books and these pages and these things. So I actually have to scroll through it and see what is what and what I need where. So let me just grab this one because I can see what that is, and that's going to work for me. And it's going to drag and drop my book. And that actually dragged it under my green. So we'll move that in a second. Now, the big pro tip here is that you have to make it a realistic size. So depending on where you're placing this thing, you are actually going to have to, there we go. You're going to have to measure it compared to the model. So if we're looking at this book, is this something that is too big or too small for her to be holding if it's on the same plane as her? And there we go. That's a realistic size. I like that. This looks so good. I love the hair. Thank you. I'm glad you like the hair. So I have my book here, and I'm going to rotate it. And I probably will not leave this one here because I tend to move my books around, especially based on color and lighting. But for now, we're just going to leave that baby there. And I'm going to grab another book. And I'm going to grab this one. And again, we have to deal with the sizing on this. So we're going to be very careful to get realistic sizing. If it is on the same plane as the model, it needs to be the size it would be if she were holding it in her hand. So I'm going to compare that to that book. And if you look at it, this book that I just added is a little bit bigger than the other book. So it's probably just a touch closer to the camera. Now keep that in mind, because once we have bigger books that on different planes and smaller books on further away planes, you're going to have to be aware of what would be in focus and what would not be in focus. So later on, we are going to have to go through and adapt what we are doing, because if it's close to the camera, so if I had a book that was up close like this one, if it were up close like this, and it happened to be in our foreground up here, this would be blurred because it's not going to be the same as the books on the same plane as my person. I actually kind of like this. Dang it. I might have to leave that there because I like that. But I don't like how it's blocking the feet. Why? Ugh. Well, now I just have to play with this. Hang on. Maybe I'll leave that there for now. I might leave this there because I like that. I'm going to mark this with a color. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but I am going to put that to let me know that later on I actually have to. Oh, it did highlight that for you. So I put that in orange because that is something I'm going to have to blur later. And because I'm going to be adding so very many books to this, it's actually something I'm going to have to be aware of when I'm rearranging things. So we're adding other books. I've got all sorts of angles, all sorts of shapes. This one's going to go in the background a little bit, so that's going to be smaller. This one is going to be in front of the other ones, and so that's going to be a mid-level. I'm going to create that with a blue tag there just so I know what needs to be what. And Alexis says, ooh, yes, girl, yes. So we're going to pull other books. I've got things sideways. I've got things straight on. I've got things upside down. There's so very many things I could do. And I could pull pages. I could pull basic pages and have pages floating around. However, I don't think I want to do that just yet. Let's see. Because I think I may stick with it just being the books in this. This I need to actually drag down lower because I want it to go behind this book. And I don't like that angle. So let me see. We're going to turn this. I'm getting messages, guys. Messages from people who want to know where we are. Let me see. We are live. If you want to come join us. And I'll read her message later because she also said other things. All right, looking for another book. Let me see. I do have some green books in here that are really pretty, but because we have such a green background, I'm thinking probably not the choice that I want to make. So let me see. Oh, I love this one. So on this one is facing out a little bit more. Look at that random book in the middle of it. That's pretty fun. Let's see. I'm going to make it bigger, and I'm going to make it sit right around there. Oh, that's actually pretty interesting. I think I like that. And this one I need to mark with an orange tag so that I know what plane that is sitting on. Actually, did I do that? That one needs to be, let's call that green. Okay, so let's see. I need to add in a couple books closer to her back here, and then I need to add some things in here. So it's kind of like the books are bringing her along as she's going. Now, I always question whether or not to put books behind my model. I love the way that that gives it the illusion that she's really mixed in with them. However, it doesn't always look super cool sticking out of the dress. So let's see. Let's find out what we're going to do. I'm going to scroll down and look for another book type. This one looks good. This is a pink book. Pink is pretty cool. And we're going to make that nice and small because that is actually going to theoretically be behind her. So, well, let's find out. We're going to zoom in on this baby. I'm going to drag this up to the top. And as I zoom in on this, there we go. All right, so here we go. We've got that, and the dress is there, and I want to put her in front of this book. So what I need to do is add a layer mask that is on white. I'm going to grab my brush. I'm going to have it on black. I'm going to bring up my opacity all the way, and I'm going to start painting off. Now, the cool thing about masks is that it's a non-destructive way of removing things or adding things into your image. So if I messed up and went, oh no, there are the leaves, I can actually switch my brush. And pro tip here, if you hit the X button on your keyboard, that will switch it back for you. You can actually add it back in. So I am going over my line. I actually have to zoom in a little bit more so I can see better. And I'm making sure that all the dress is showing. And then I'm going to lower the size of my brush and go in there and very finely, with a very refined edge, I'm going to go over where that dress is. I'm going to remove all of those leaves and allow the book to live behind her. So then once I have that line defined there, I can fill it in a little bit better. So here we go. I'm filling in where that book is. And I'm actually going to do something really cool in just a second. I just have to finish filling that in. There we go. Now if we look right here in this little corner, right by the edge of the book, you can kind of see where the fabric is just a touch see-through. So what I'm going to do is take my brush on a low opacity, and I'm just going to tap it on just a little bit so it can be seen through a layer of the fabric. Pretty cool, right? So then I'm going to pull back out and see how that looks. Oh, there we go. There we go. I love how this looks, Alexa says. The book's up close and everything. It looks really cool, right? Now, here's the deal. These books, they all need to be refined later because it needs to be believable. And having things in focus far away and having things in focus up close is not believable. In fact, if you put your finger out in front of your face, if you are looking in front of your nose, you are going to be able to see that you can focus on your finger and the things in the background are blurred, or you can focus on the background and your finger is blurred. And when I say blurred, I actually mean there's two versions of your finger there. So try that out. That's actually pretty cool. It's also an interesting way to determine your dominant eye. My dad taught me that trick. If you close one eye and then open the other eye and your finger moves, it is not your dominant eye. But if it does not move, it is your dominant eye. And if it does move, it is not your dominant eye. So ta-da, tricks from Dad right there. Let's see. Oh, how do we feel about an orange book? Let's add that baby in. So we're going to add in an orange book. We're going to rotate that baby. Going to put that back there. Now, here's the thing. I just put this book where the leaf is over it. So I'm going to zoom in really far. And I'm going to move over because look at that. That is definitely where it shouldn't be. So what do we need to do? Well, we've got a tree branch here. We've got a leaf here. So these are things we need to be aware of as we are doing this. So I am going to turn that off for just a second. I'm going to grab my lasso tool. And there's lots of ways to do this. I'm just thinking this is going to be the easiest way to get the initial outline of this. And I'm just going to start outlining that leaf just a little bit. Not all of it, just the part that's going to be over the book. And then I'm going to hold my shift button down because I actually want to do two different areas. And I'm going to outline that branch. Now that was a really rough outline of that branch. Like you can actually see some leaves there. So that's okay. We're going to go in and we're going to refine it. So now you can see where the lasso tool is over top of that book. And I am going to actually select the inverse of that. And I'm going to put my layer mask over it. Boom! Look how it just brought the leaf and the branch in front of it. However, my lasso job, not so totally awesome. So let me zoom in just a touch. And I'm going to grab my brush on black. And I'm going to go with a very small brush. And I have to bring my opacity back up because I had lowered that before. Whoops. And I am going to paint that brush back on. There we go. And we're just going to refine the edge a little bit so it doesn't look super cut out. So I'm just going to pixelate it just a little bit so it's just a touch blurred. And there it is over top of that book. So when I zoom back out, boom, it's behind the tree. Amazing, right? So I definitely need 1 or 2 more books right here near her. And then we are going to play with the lighting. We're going to play with the book. So I need to find 1 more or 2 more good books. Give me a second to go through my collection. I am zooming through here and looking for something good. Oh, that might be good. Yes, no, maybe. Yeah, no. Keep going. Trying to find a good one here, guys. Trying to find a good one. Let me see. Zooming through. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Here we go. This is one of my favorite books. So we're going to grab that, drag and drop that baby right there, and right about there, I think, and angle it just a touch. And then we actually have to bring this down in my layers so that it is behind the books that I have to play with later. And let's tilt what we're doing. I think I need to actually switch how that is. So I'm going to horizontal flip that, and there we go. That's a little bit better because I wanted the really cool detailing in those page turns there, but it was not allowing me to do that based on the other book because of that book cover. And so now I just have to find the proper location for it. Because it's so frustrating. Okay, fine. We're going to leave that one there because I really want the detail on that. And then I'm going to grab a different one to put in front of her. That is how it works around here. Yes, it is. Yes, that one will work. So we're going to grab this one. This one's kind of a flat book, which I really like. I'm going to zoom that down. And because it's behind the book, I can't actually see it. Woohoo! And let's bring it right here. And again, I think I'm going to flip that horizontally. Now, if we could see the actual words on this book, you couldn't do that because you could tell it was a backwards book. But for now, totally cool, right? Okay, sound off in those comments. Let me know what it is that you think about this. Do you like this? Do you think it needs more books? What do you think? I was actually planning on adding more books in behind the tree, but I kind of really like the way that it's going right now. While you're sounding off, I'm going to go ahead and save that because it does take a minute to save. Unfortunately, my Photoshop is running a little bit slow today because I am live broadcasting and I am doing this book cover. So, Caitlin's here. Yay, I'm so glad you're here. Love the flying books. Yep, it's a levitation image with flying books. So if you look, she is floating, and I love it. All right, so I have saved that. I actually want to save this a second time because I'm going to mess with it and get a little destructive. I want to have 2 versions just so I can go back and show people things. So here we go, saving a second time, and now I'm going to go in and I'm going to start blurring what I need to blur. So I'm going to grab this one first, and aha! So that is kind of medium. My oranges are up close, up close. My blues are, hey, I kind of need to blur you a touch. So let's find out. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to turn the first one off. I always duplicate because if I don't like what I did, I can go back. It's easier that way. So I'm going to go to filter. I'm going to go down to blur. I'm going to go to Gaussian blur. And up pops a window, which you may or may not be able to see. I don't actually know because I can't see the thing on this. Let me, no, because it goes down. Never mind. That doesn't help me. So here we go. You can see it's a super blurred book, which we don't like. So we're going to pull back on this. I actually don't want this one blurred very much at all. Just a tiny little touch because it is not quite on the same plane as her. So there we go. I'm happy with that. I am then going to, you know what? I forgot to mark some of these. It's a bit of a problem. Usually I do this as I go, but because I was explaining it to you, didn't quite get there. All right, here we go. This is one of my green ones. I'm going to duplicate this baby and turn off the first copy, and then I'm going to go back to filter, blur, oops, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and we're going to bump this baby up. So, as you can see, that purple book is starting to get more and more pixelated. Now, that is probably too much. I don't necessarily want it that pixelated, so I'm going to pull it back just a little bit because it's noticeably blurry because it's out of focus because it's closer to the camera and my focus is on my model. And we're going to call that good. Then I'm going to go down because there's a couple more books in that close-up field that I need to do that I didn't mark because I am on top of life. So I am going to duplicate that one and turn that off. And then I'm going to, again, go to my blur, Gaussian blur. And that one's going to be a little less than the purple one that we just did because it is a little bit closer to the model. So yes, it's definitely out of focus, but not a ton out of focus because it's fairly close to where she is. So we've got a little bit of blur going on there. Or we could do a ton of blur. See how it's like practically gone? That's pretty interesting, right? So we're going to bring this down. Because again, it's fairly close to her. There we go. So now I need to find the book that is above that book, which is probably, I guessed it right. Look at me go. We're going to duplicate that and turn that one off. Again, we're going to go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and this one's going to be a touch more than the last one, but not quite as much as the purple one. Ta-da! Now here's where it gets really fun, guys, because we are about to hang out with those front two books. Alexis is saying it's gorgeous, and she's giving me the little heart eyes, which I totally love. Thanks, PS. Let's go up to the ones I've marked as orange. We're going to duplicate one of them and turn it off. Let me see which one this is. Haha. And you know what? I want to come back to that one. I want to do the other one first. So let me duplicate that one and turn that baby off. And filter, blur, Gaussian blur. And let's do this. So I'm waiting for my blur to catch up just a little bit. Still waiting for it to catch up. There we go. It's starting to catch up. A little bit more. Okay, that is too much. So now I'm starting to pull back. I always tend to go for too much first and then I pull back. Because if you work your way from less to more, it's a little bit harder to tell, but you can definitely tell what's too much and then work it back from there. There we go. I think I'm happy with that one. And so then I'm going to go down to the other one. Caitlin, I'm seeing you've got a comment about dodge and burn. Hold on, let me read that. Click on the right one here and let me read. Is dodge and blur like dodge and burn? Haha, you're funny. Yeah. Dodge and burn is actually something we're going to be doing in just a few minutes because I am going to be manipulating the light here and I'm so dang excited for that. So let me go ahead and blur this one because this is the last step before I can actually play with my light and do some dodging and burning. So this one is just a touch ahead of the other one, so I actually want to move it up just a little bit more. Not much, just enough. There we go. Ta-da! Now, I actually need to blur some of those ones in the back. The orange one specifically is what I need to blur. So let me find my orange book, which should be fairly easy because, yeah, that's right, we have the layer mask on it. So I'm going to duplicate that. And at this point, we're going to have a fun little trick because it has a layer mask on it. So let me go down to my Gaussian blur. And that is far too much blur for that. But we do want to have some blur, so I'm backing down. Yes, 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 yes. And at this point, I actually have to go back in, and I have to make sure my mask is good. So let me just zoom in there. Oh, yes, 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 yes. I definitely want to change this one right here. So let me find this baby. Wow. Gonna look through all of this. This is gonna be lower in the ranks, I do believe, because it is behind some things. Gray dress, smart filters. That's off, that's off. Purple, that's not right. And we're just scrolling through until we find it. It's the benefits of not labeling things. Really, what's happening? No. Okay, this is the point where we get to a statement where we scream, try all the books. Let me see. But this one. Got you. I got you. That just took a minute there. Okay, let's blur this baby, and then we can get out of here and deal with our lighting, which I am super excited about. And we just want to blur it just a little bit. Boom. Okay, now I'm happy. 26%, and back up about all the books. Yes. Yes, yes, I am excited for this. Okay. So at this point, while we're saving this, I am actually going to put all my books into a folder to keep them nice and neat because I don't need to be playing with them again. So I've highlighted all my books, and I'm just going to put them in a folder, and then I can turn them on and off. Boom, look at that. No books, flying books. Tells a story there, doesn't it? I like to do people levitating and floating with books. And I don't know why, it's just kind of a thing I do in my art pieces, and I absolutely love it. Okay, so while we're waiting for this to finish saving, I do want you to take a look at something that's going to affect what we're doing next, and that is the lighting. So you know I educate on lighting all the time. You have to be super aware of where the lighting is coming from, so take a look at the model's hair here. Top of the hair is very highlighted. We've got some highlights here. So where is my light coming from? Well, let's look for a few cues. First one is going to be the shadow. Model is in the air, shadow is on the ground in a slightly angled direction. It's not directly below her. It is definitely coming from the top left to the right. It's not a severe angle. It's not coming sideways, but it is coming from the top down to the bottom, right, in this area. So this is the direction that my light is coming in. It's affecting the way that the leaves are on the trees, and it's got to affect everything else. So at this point, I am going to do a little bit of fancy footwork, and we're going to add a layer. And I'm just going to start darkening this baby down because I want some heavily directional light. That was not grammatically correct, but you get the idea. So I am going to start painting just a little bit to show you what I'm doing. And I grabbed a black brush on a new layer, and I'm just going to start painting over this in a slightly directional way, just so you can kind of see what is happening here. Now in a second, I am actually going to be pulling this off and pulling it down so that it is not so heavy. Look how it's starting to angle that. Now I don't know if I'm going to keep it this way, but we are going to play with some of this. Oops, I would have said top right to left. And that, you know why? It's because you looked at the light here on the trees and you looked at the light in the hair. And it does kind of make sense that that would be where it was. In fact, if I didn't see the shadow there, I might agree with you because a lot of it is on, like if you look at the foot, if you look at the heel, a lot of it is coming from behind. So it is actually not necessarily coming from right here at the top, but it is filtering from these trees so that it hits more of the back than the front, and that is why you're getting some of these shadows. Yeah, you looked at the hair. Yep, I understand that. And it is because if you look right, let me show you. If you look right here, that is a dark shadow right there. And that is because the light is coming from behind. And it's hitting here, it's hitting here, it's hitting here, and it's hitting this hair out here because this is farther out away from the body. Right now, the head is blocking the light. So all of that is in shadow because the light is coming from this direction. So it's hitting the shoulder here, and it's hitting the back of the feet down here, but it is not hitting the front of the legs. It's not hitting this side of the dress. It's hitting just a little bit of the dress right here because that's further away from the body and the light is traveling around the body to get to that. But the body right here on the head specifically is blocking most of that light. Pretty interesting, right? So we've got the light going on here. Let me switch back to my black. And I'm going to start tapping in where I want it, because I don't want it to affect all of the tree. But there are certain areas that I do want it to affect. I actually hate what it just did to the book there, so let me fix that, because we need to make that nice and even. Now, fun story, I went out and I did this a few days ago. Definitely threw my neck out of joint as I was doing that. Okay, so we're starting to get our lighting in here the way that I want it. And we're gonna do Caitlin's favorite thing in the world, dodging and burning. Caitlin says, that's amazing. I totally see where the light is now. I know, you have to really learn about light and study where it's coming from. And honestly, if I had first seen this, I would have thought that it was the same. It was coming from that other layer, or from that other side. And we're just gonna call this burn. We're doing a burn layer here. I would have thought it was coming from the other side based specifically on the hair. And if the shadow hadn't been there, at first glance, if I wasn't paying attention and I wasn't doing this in a professional capacity, I totally would have said, yeah, it's coming from the other direction. But because of that shadow, you have to be super extra aware of where the lighting is coming from. And it definitely, most definitely throws you when you're looking at the tree right there, that fallen tree, which is really cool. This is a tree that got chopped down. It was not my choice. But I always take advantage of when trees are no longer upright on my property. I always go out and I do fun photo shoots. If you have not seen the cover of my book, Jaded, you should. You should see it, because I actually threw a model in a tree. And some other stuff that I can't tell you because it'll ruin the cover of the sequel. I'm going to keep my mouth shut now. But if you have seen that photo series before, you kind of know what's going on. So right now I'm just burning. I am adding in a bunch of darkness where I don't want the light to be. And right now, I am totally not feeling this bright green here. So I'm actually going to add a layer quickly. And I'm going to grab this weird brownish color. Guys, if you are a Photoshop person, this one is going out to you. This is the ability to take away green, and you're going to tap it over anything that's too green for you that you don't like. You're going to set the blend mode to color, and you're going to pull back on the opacity. And look at that. I just canceled out all of that green color that I didn't like. Look how bright it was and how chill it is now. This is something you can do when you're creating winter pictures or fall pictures and your green is too green. Because I know I've done fall photo shoots where it still had green in the background, like obnoxious green. You can totally get rid of that green with just a few taps. And I love it. Okay, so now we're going to start getting really intentional about this directional light. I'm going to add a new layer with more burning. Burn 2. And color goes down to gray, mode goes down to soft light, and fill with our neutral color. And I'm going to grab a big brush here for this burn, and I'm going to start locking down my color. And I'm going to start streamlining what I am doing here. Now, here's the deal. You have to remember, my light is very, very important here. And I actually have to. Caitlin says it looks so much better than the bright green. I know, bright green is obnoxious in photos. And grass always photographs that way. It's terrible. I have to be very aware of my light here because my model is highlighted. And part of her body is highlighted. And part of her dress is highlighted. And if she is like that, and if she is experiencing this light, and if we are following the path of this light down at the bottom, we are aware that some of these books are going to be catching the light. And so now we need to go in and we need to deal with this. So we're going to start zooming in, and we're going to work on our coloring. So here we go. I'm going to, whoop, it jumped on me, sorry guys. I am going to grab that first layer that we did, and I'm going to put a layer mask over it. I'm going to grab my brush, and I'm going to put it on black, and I'm going to get little on my brush size. I'm going to reduce my opacity, and I'm starting to paint off. Oops, got to be a little higher than that. I am starting, oh, that's too high. That happens, unfortunately, sometimes. Add that back in, and now I'm going to lower it just a touch, and we're going to start painting off of where the light would be catching. So where's the light going to catch this book? Well, this book is kind of at an angle, so its pages will definitely be lit up. The inside of it will definitely be highlighted, but not necessarily the cover, because again, it is at an angle. So perhaps part of this will be caught by the light, but definitely not all of it. And I definitely just went over where I didn't want to be on that. So I'm going to make this brighter and more noticeable. Now I'm going to come back to this back one. This is going to catch the light, baby. So we're going to add in some light here, and we're going to give it a definite kick. And it's going to catch most of that cover. Definitely the spine is going to be caught within that light. And then I need to refine my edge here because it went off onto my grass a little bit. And it definitely went onto my spine in too much of a blaze of glory there. So let's calm that down just a touch. So we've definitely added back in a little bit of darkness where it's needed. And now I need to handle this book in the background. So we're going to give it a little bit of a kick of light, because this is not necessarily super, super dark. We want this to pop just a little bit. So I'm going to make my brush just a little bit bigger because I want to add in just a little bit of light. Now, these are too bright. This is actually going to be something that is definitely too bright, and I'm going to have to pull back on that in just a second. But I want to get an overall brightness to this, and then I'm going to bring down my opacity, switch over to that darker color, and just kind of go over it where I need to so that it's not some weird obnoxious color. So at this point, I actually need to test this. I need to go back and I need to see this in full view. So I definitely need to take away some of that brightness on the orange book and the mint book. So we're just going to start tapping with a big brush until it makes sense again. Sweetness. Check that out. Okay. So now at this point, my concerns are going to be these books here. Now the book right next to the model is definitely going to be lit up, so I'm not even going to worry about that. But the one over to the side, we definitely need to work just a little bit on. So I am going to go to a new layer, and we're going to call this book darkening, ing. I'm going to grab that black brush again. And I am on a very low opacity, and I just want to take off some of the brightness, but not all of it. So I definitely need to have like a gradient look to this. Look at that. So it's darker on the edge, and it works its way into lighter. Pretty cool, right? Now, before I do anything else, Alexis says this is so amazing. Oh, I'm glad you like this. Before I do anything else, I need to handle the books up front. So let's do this. And I think I'm gonna start with a new layer and paint a little black in there before I do some burning. So let me just darken down my pages on the inside. Oh, it's a little slow because it's mad at me because I'm live broadcasting while I'm doing this. And start thinking of titles. Start thinking of taglines, because in just a minute, we're switching over to create our book cover. It is unfortunately mad at me, so give it just a second while it decides not to be obnoxious. I'm going to try to save this while we're doing this. Okay, so we are waiting for this to pick up speed and cooperate with me and save. And what I'm going to be doing, let me just show you with my mouse. I'm going to be tapping on some darkness inside of these pages. So you can see there's definitely some shadows, but there's also some areas where it was touched by light. And that is not necessarily going to be something that is going to be what we're doing here. So at this point, we are still waiting for this to cooperate. Ooh. And yes, it's letting, no, it's not. No, it's not. But I am getting comments, so let's see. I like big books and I cannot lie should be the tagline. Ha, you're hilarious, Caitlin. I feel like, oh no, I could use that, right? Because that's not copyrighted. That's not part of the actual song. That's just something we make up over in the book world. I'm still not going to use it just in case, but you know, it makes sense. So right now I'm just tapping on some shadows on these pages. And specifically, I'm tapping it in not along the outside, but along the actual pages where you can see a separation in what we're doing. And that just got really weird and awkward. So that is going to be something that we tap off in a minute. So I am just adding in shadows where it's needed, where you can see a separation in these pages on the one that is closest to us. And then I'm going to refine that momentarily, because right now it looks bleh. Okay, all right, I hear you. And because I'm doing it, I'm just going to go over to the other book and I'm going to deal with the same shadows here. We're just going to build those in. Yes. Build in the shadows. Okay. Let's reduce that just a little bit because it hates me. Blah. Okay, let me do my burn layer and just see what happens. Burn on book. Once upon a time, I think I did a live broadcast of something like this, and I was doing a flying book image, and I labeled something book burn or something like that, and everybody's like, what? I'm like, not that kind. Bad things happening here. Yeah, Caitlin says she just had to. Of course you did, girl. Of course you did. Not pretty. Let's see. Okay, so then I'm going to, what do I want? Let me grab my gradient tool here. Whew. So I grabbed my gradient tool, and I am just kind of putting some gradient over this so that I don't have to necessarily do it all by hand. And I'm just adding in some darkness. And I'm actually going to add some darkness right around my bottom edge there, because the light is not traveling all this way. These books are in darkness, and so that's actually going to reflect down at the bottom too, because it's not like a pathway of light, as cool as that could be. So I think the one thing I need to do now is going to be to add in that light up at the top. So we've got our light source. We've obviously drawn that in. However, we're going to add a little bit to that. So I have my gradient tool. I'm going to grab white, and I'm going to go where we're pulling this light in from. And it's going to add just a little pop of light there. Yes. Add a little bit more. And then we're going to pull it back. Boom. No. So, sometimes I take it too far. I like to add in other rims of light. And so sometimes I have to work that on a different layer. There, I like that, but it's too bright up at the top, so I'm actually going to put a layer mask over it and erase it back. Yes, I am. Boom. Boom. Okay. Ta-da! What do we all think? What do we think, guys? I am going to, gosh, I am such a fan of textures. I think I'm going to try a texture real quick. And then decide if I want to do a texture, and we're going to do it over in our book cover mode. So I'm waiting for my texture to pop up because, of course, I had my overall texture folder, but I did not pull in my actual image because I had to go into the folder. There it is. Okay, let me grab that. Don't mind me, I'm throwing my hair back. It's starting to pull on my neck weird. Unfortunately, one of the downfalls about being a photographer is that you have a lot of strain on your neck and on your eyes and on your fingers and on your wrists, and it's just a thing. And right now, it's kind of a little bit painful. Now we're going to switch the blend mode here. Usually you're going to do like soft light or screen, but with this particular one, I love to do difference. And look how weird and awkward that is. We're going to reduce the opacity severely. Oh my gosh, guys. Look at how beautiful and matte and lovely that is. I'm gonna pull it down just, no, actually I don't. I wanna leave it right there and I wanna paint it off of the face just a touch. Low opacity on the brush. There we go. Look how gorgeous that is. Oh my goodness. I actually want to duplicate this and just see. Yes, I do. I am going to leave it there because I love the swirl in the corner, but I don't love it everywhere else. So I'm going to duplicate that layer, and then I'm going to paint off. Fun fact, this is going to freak you guys out. You ready for this? There is a specific button that you can hit. It's going to make everything red where it is painted on. What are you doing? Oh, it highlighted something. Boom, and that is where it's painted on, so I can see exactly where I'm painting things on and off. See, on and off. I got that wrong. It's red if it's painted off. And then I'm just going to take that off. It's going to get mad at me. There we go. There we go. So now I just have to decide. See, I always think I'm done, and then I realize I'm not done. I'm going to play with my curves real quick. I'm going to go down to my blue channel, and I'm going to add in some yellow tones, but I don't like that. Add in some blue tones. I don't think I like that either. No, 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 no. I don't think I like this. Let me try the green channel. I don't like that. No, I don't like that. Let me try my red channel. Well, I guess I'm not going to use my curves. I might try a little bit more of a matte finish. Let me just see if I like that real quick. So I made just a little bit of a matte finish there, and no, I like it better without it. Okay, so at this point I would have to decide, do I want to add in some color? Do I not want to add in some color? And I don't know. I almost think it might be kind of cool to do. Let me just try this. Let me just see how this works. Ooh, my eyes are killing me right now, guys. Totally killing me. I did the wrong thing. New fill layer, solid color, and I'm going to pick like a mintish color. No, actually I want that one. Yeah, let me just see what that does. I'm going to change my blend mode to color, and I'm going to back this way off. But it kind of gives it that mintish pop. I have to decide if I like that or not. I'm going to inverse this. To invert it, you just click Option I, and it will switch your layer mask for you. And then I'm just going to start tapping in certain areas and adding just a little bit of a mint glow to this. It's mad at me. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I kind of think I like the little bit of mint in here. I'm just going to, real quick, just add in some pops of mint because it's a little bit fairy tale-like. And then I'm going to try one thing real fast. And what I'm going to do right now is grab a gradient, and I'm going to grab like a magenta color. Sometimes this looks really cool. Sometimes this looks really weird. So I'm just adding in that gradient over in the corner there. And it's almost like a little bit of lens flare, but we have to back it way down. And I might just add Yeah, I'm going to add some in the corner, but I'm going to do it on a separate layer so I can adjust my opacity the way I need it to be. So here we go. We've got another gradient here, and then I'm going to back that way down. Yes. Yes. And then I might even add in just a touch of gold, because sometimes that's really cool. Ooh, I'm killing my eyes here, guys. They're like painful right now. Probably because I spent not a couple hours. I spent a little while yesterday out in the pollen outside creating some tutorial videos for people. So, okay, I'm calling it quits because I have to move on with my life and do the book cover. So there we go. I'm going to save that. I definitely went out this morning and I did some bookish pictures, so you can be expecting to see those over on my my author social media platforms a little bit later, probably today, because I'm going to go through those. I actually tried to get through it before we went live today, but I ran out of time. So here we go. We are saving this, and once this is saved, I'm going to go ahead and export this, and then we're going to move it over to our book cover. So if you have ideas for titles, now is the time. Start hitting up my chat box and let me know what you are thinking. Yes, bookish picks are the best. Yes, girl. Yes, girl. Caitlin says, I like the minty glow. It's pretty, right? I like it. Okay, so here we go. 83%. It's a little bit slow. You can't even save the JPEG until after. So we're just going to wait. We're going to hang out. It's going to be awesome. We're just waiting for this to save. Still at 83%. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's just lovely. Oh, okay. I'm going to click Save As, and it's going to give me the, sorry, no. Ah, there we go. Okay, so let me save this as a JPEG. I actually don't know if you can see that. We're going to save, and I'm not going to save it as a big file because I'm just turning it into a book cover for show. I don't have to have a huge file for that. P.S. If you're working with these printers that actually print these books, they are absolutely dreadful about file size, and you have to have like a very low resolution image to print there, and it irks me so much as a photographer who works with the best printers in the industry who want quality images to be sent in, and all of a sudden I'm working with these printers and they're like, no, it's gonna come out pixelated anyway, so just send us low. It's a problem for me. Okay. We are saving that JPEG. Boom. Okay, life is good. Moving on. Here we go. This is going to be the book cover that we did not too long ago. We're going to remove stuff, and we're going to drag and drop this in. So I'm actually just going to be looking for that file. There we go. Okay, cool. Here we go. I'm going to switch that over. And this actually needs to be pulled back a lot more than that. Ta-da. Okay. So here we go. Got lots of fun stuff here. I'm just going to take away stuff. Yeah, I see you. I see you. We're going to delete that. And everything's going to be white, like our background. And we're going to pull this baby in. Boom. So now we have to decide how we want to rock this cover out. So here we go. The question then becomes, do we want her to be small? Or do we want her to be bigger? Bigger is better sometimes. Let's find out. Let's see. Don't do that. Don't do that. It's being a tad glitchy because, unfortunately, like I said, I'm doing more than one thing at once, and it's mad at me. So I'm going to make that a little smaller. then we're going to say, yes, and be done with it. Yes, and be done with it. That's the way that that's going. All right, so it's placing it there, and I'm actually going to duplicate this baby, and I'm going to pull it down because I'm actually going to be modifying that and putting that together. So I'm going to copy those, and I'm going to merge the layers together because I am extending my background here. So then I'm going to grab my clone tool. And step 1 is going to be to get rid of the book that is duplicated down here. So let me just grab that. And, oops, I'm on a low opacity. Got to bring that baby back up. And I'm going to be sampling from different areas so that it does not look like it is the same. And I'm just going to start pulling this off. Oh, because it's still a low opacity. Why did it do that to me? I was wondering why it was still there. You could still see that line. Not cool, guys. Not cool. I'm going to grab my spot heel, and I'm just going to work on that line just a little bit before I go in and I get rid of that secondary shadow, because that's kind of weird and awkward, right? She wouldn't have more than one shadow. Now, fun fact, when you move shadows, you can actually change how high or how low the model appears. So clearly, we've got a gap in between her feet and the shadows, which means there is a difference there. However, if I actually could do this, I could take that shadow and I can move that baby down to where that other shadow is. In fact, let's just play with that for a second. We're going to drag that there. And then let's just say that this shadow wasn't here. She is now extremely high up in the air, isn't she? It's pretty cool, right? Because, like, this is going to be a little weird and awkward, guys. Just run with me. We're just going to pretend to take away this grass here. Oh, no, but I wanted that one there. Okay, obviously that's really clone, but look how much higher she just got. Crazy, right? Okay, so let me get rid of this grass right here. Don't be like that. We don't like it when you do that. Oy, it's picking up my bottom edge. It's a problem. So I'm grabbing my spot heel and I am just kind of cleaning up some of these lines. It's a little slow because I am live broadcasting as I'm doing this, and yeah, it just does that, unfortunately. So at this point, I need to get rid of that tree branch, and I need to get rid of the edge of the book. And that's just beautiful because my clone job is dreadful. And you can see how those leaves are clearly in multiple spots. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to hack this because I don't have a ton of time to be dealing with this. So let me just grab a black brush here. Yeah, I'm just going to darken this down because like I said, it is, no, don't do that to me. Undo clone stamp, thank you. Grab my brush. Like I said, it is going to be darker here because that is the way of life. And that is the way that my lighting and my lighting source is going. So I'm going to start tapping in different areas on different layers to add some textured light in there. And because we're doing it on different layers, I can then change things and move things around, do cool stuff to it. And I can grab a burn tool, burn in the corner, and we're going to burn that real quick. And I'm just going to sweep that in there. And then I'm going to emphasize it up at the top as well. And I'm just going to blend it just a touch. And then I am going to actually paint off of it just a little bit. Nope, not what I needed. And where is that? Let me see. Oh no, it's just a weird thing. Okay, let me grab a low opacity clone tool because I need to add just a little bit of grass into this one area. Oh, double feet right there. Do you see that one, guys? Ah, my goodness, with the opacity being problematic. Again, with the opacity, what is happening right now? I am just kind of cleaning this up just a little bit. Awesome. And the cool thing is we're going to put the title down there so nobody's going to know anyway. So at this point, I'm going to grab one of the dark colors over at the edge. I'm going to create a new fill layer, solid color, pull it into that dark green. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. And then I am going to paint off this edge here, right up to the spine, so we don't need that. I'm going to use a small brush right up against that spine, so that I don't get rid of too much of it. Ooh. My Photoshop is really acting up right now because I am live broadcasting while I'm doing this, so I do apologize for that. And I want to add a little bit of texture in here. And that is actually going to go under the other thing there, so we're going to move that in a second. Bring that up, bring that down, and I just want it to come over to here. At which point I will switch my blend mode to difference, I think. And then pull that way down. And actually, difference is not going to cut it this time, so let's try soft light. And pull that up. Pull that down. Put it on screen. See what's going to happen. Sometimes you just gotta try what you gotta try. Yeah, I'm totally not feeling that. Let's try multiply. And multiply might do it. Or maybe it won't, I don't know. Sometimes you just gotta try your different blend modes until you find one that actually works. I'm just gonna pretend that that works. Let's just call that works. Okay, so here we go. We are going to call this Transfixed. I don't know why I thought of that as a title, but that is going to be our title today. Because I did not see any examples or suggestions over in my comment box. So that's kind of one of those like floating in air, you're transfixed. It works, right? I don't know. We'll find out. Looking for a really good font. And I always have the worst time finding fonts on these live broadcasts because usually I would create a custom font for it. But I don't do that for these things. I just work with what we've got. And what we've got is not the coolest. It's unfortunate. Okay, going through. Not really feeling much of this, but I never feel much of these fonts, or many of these fonts. I really do need to go on a font finding mission. Okay, whatevs. We're just gonna call it decent. And at this point, we're going to play. Oh, yes, we are going to play. We're going to find, let me see, I want that bookish color, like that old bookish tint. So let me find, where is that? And I'm going to grab my color, and I'm going to put that over this title. And let's see how that looks. Ooh, well, it's kind of interesting, but it is a touch dark. So let me duplicate this baby, and let me screen it. Look at that. Now we're talking, guys. Now we're talking. Okay, so here we go. The books took her away, but can she find her way back? I don't know. It's a weird tagline, and I'm okay with that. So I'm going to pop it in that darker color, which again, I'm going to have to make pop a little bit differently. Let me screen that and see if that happens. Yeah, I'm going to screen that one more time. Boom. You tell me this isn't cool, guys. Okay, fake name. We're going to change the font of that. Let me find out what this font is. Okay. Let's see what happens. Oh, I already forgot the name of the font. That is really bad, guys. Let me see if I can find it. There we go. Well, ta-da. Let's just call it decent. We're going to change the font color, and we are going to screen it once or twice to bump that up. Yeah, close enough. Close enough. I'm going to call that okay. We're going to change this font here to match because we like matching fonts. We're going to scroll this baby down until we get to our matching font. There we go. And we're going to grab that color again and then screen it so that it brightens it. Now, another way to easily do this would be to color grab what we're doing. But you know, I'm not always that smart, so it's all good. And because it is a little hard to see, I'm just going to go in and I'm going to darken behind it just a touch with my gradient tool. Unblack. As it takes a minute. Gradient tool might not be my friend right now. It's probably not going to play nice, so let me just grab this. And as you can see, I'm tapping my black in there. And then I'm going to reduce my opacity. And I'm just going to tap it in where I need it, and then I'm going to blend it by using a lower opacity. And you'd never know! While I'm at it, I'm going to go back and move that under some of the other things too, except I have to go really far down apparently. I'm just dragging and dropping this below things that aren't even on my screen and should not be on my screen. Let's start deleting. The fun thing is that sometimes you can delete things and it just makes life easier. And there. Now it's not what I asked it to do. Wrong layer. Grab that and drop it under that. And there we go. Now it's more helpful. Okay. Tapping in just so it stands out a touch more. And we're going to call that a ta-da moment. So at this point, we are going to delete this baby because I don't want that one there. I do want to copy and paste this one. Copy and rotate this 90 degrees clockwise. And that is going to allow me to take it and put it down here. And we're going to make it a little smaller because that's kind of an awkward size for that title to be. And then we are going to grab our title So that is this one and the one below it. No, don't do that to me. Sometimes it grabs more than one thing that we did not necessarily need. So I got that. I'm going to rotate that 90 degrees clockwise and put that up at the top of my sidebar. Sidebar. What I mean is the spine. And then I should have left Caitlin's favorite here. I think it was Caitlin who loved it, where I wrote words, 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 words. And that was the back of my cover, because I didn't actually take the time. Although we could probably come up with something interesting here. Let's find out, shall we? Let's see, is this all connected? No, it's not. It's not connected. Books hold great mysteries. And we should change that font to match. So we're just scrolling down until we find the fonts. The books hold, oh, well, fine, be that way. Let me actually, because I liked it capital, the books, nope, go down, hold, wow, great mysteries. And it's just going to take just a second because it's a little on the mad side at the moment. And delete. And voila. The books hold great mysteries. Once the once the pages are opened, no one is safe. Oh, suddenly we've gotten some dangerous books here. This is pleasant. What happened in the books? I don't even know. One is safe. Stories hold great power. And with power comes danger. This is getting scary, guys. When I need a name, guys. Come up with a name for me. Oh gosh, I don't know. Because, like, all the names I'm thinking of right now are people I actually know. That is not helpful. Name. We're going to come up with a name. Let's see what Caitlin's saying. Ooh, demonic books that eat people. That's terrible! Not demonic books that eat people. They're, I don't know. They're good books doing bad things. It's okay. Sometimes we have to do evil things to get to the point where it's all good. Jasmine. Yep, that's a great name. When Jasmine discovers the books hidden in her family's home. Discovered. There we go. She had no idea what was in store. Now she must fight to fix the broken tales and restore her world. This is so interesting right now. Yeah. One false move could destroy everything she knows and change her history, present, and future. The books hold the power. Jasmine turns the pages. Boom! Boom, you guys. And then we've got a quote. Quote from someone who we're calling Overeager Author Review. And we're going to say, Jasmine's story is unique and incredible. It's a real page turner. I couldn't help myself. Okay, there we go. So then we've got website information, we've got all sorts of fun things, and because we never leave boring stuff on the back, let's have a little fun, shall we? So I'm going to go down just a little bit here, and I'm going to add in a layer. And actually, I don't need to add in a layer. I can just do what I'm going to do. Let me show you. This is going to be fun. You ready for this one? Okay, I got to find the right piece because pieces matter. And I'm going to drag and drop. Caitlin's laughing at me. I'm assuming that's my weird little right up there. And we have, boom, a book baby. So let's have some flying books because why not? Why not? Whoa, wrong one. Grab the correct tool here. Thank you very much. What are you doing? Don't do that to me. There we go. Okay. And we're just going really, really pale with that. It's kind of awesome. And it's just going to be in the background. So I'm going to grab other things that are going to work with this. And we're going to make this small. And I'm going to reduce the opacity on that baby. Actually might need to bring that up a little bit more. The more flying books, the better, Caitlin says. Darn right, girl. Darn right. And I'm actually going to play with my overlaid texture. I want to bring that up a little bit more, I think. Okay, pull this down. And then let me duplicate this and try it on my difference level. Really gonna be like that? Oh, dude, I totally just figured out what I needed to do. My bad. So let me just change this, because sometimes when you're doing things and you're playing with things, you just don't pay attention to what you should be doing. Let me fix this. There we go. What are you doing here? Okay, step back. Because that got kind of weird. And put that on one more time, see if this is going to be weird for me. It is! What's happening? Don't do that! Step back. Okay, hang on. Something's going weird here. What is happening? Oh, because brilliant me, I totally did that backwards. Okay, now we're talking. I see what I did. I had it on the wrong layer. Really? Are you seriously gonna mess with me like this? Thank you. Huh. It is being problematic. Okay, whatever. I'm just gonna run with that. Yes, I am. I'm just gonna run with that. Huh. Fun times. Okay. Cool beans. So now there's one book I think I want, and I have to actually find it. Hang on. I'm gonna show you. Oh, you know what else is kind of cool? Let me just Let me just do this. We're going to pull the book pages in. And we're going to warp those. And we're going to drop the opacity on that. And actually, we're going to raise it up a bit. Yes. Yes, we are. So let me just add in a few more pages, because I can. Figure on the back we should have some books and pages, yeah? We're going to rotate this a little bit and bring it up. Yes, 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 yes. And let me see. Pull that one. We're going to make it smaller, and then we're going to rotate it, and then we're going to pull it up and probably warp it. Oh, and we got to make it smaller because that's too big. Yes, and then we need to warp that baby. And then we need to drop the opacity. Sure, why not? Drop the opacity a little more. There we go. Okay, cool. So then, wait, now there was one book I wanted to look for. And I know it's here somewhere. Is it not here somewhere? Might not be here somewhere. I don't know. Let me see. Oh, well, that would be a negative. Strange. I thought I had one that I guess I didn't have. I'm just thinking of a different angle. Yeah. Yep, I was thinking of a different angle. Oh, well. Oh, that could work. Let's play with that one. So go ahead, give me a shout out in the comments. Let me know, do you like this? Are you feeling this? This is working for you. You know what I ought to do? If I were really good, I would totally be changing this, and I would have the book with the pages coming out. But I actually don't care that much. So this is not a real book, and I'm wrapping this baby up. So let me just create a little divider there, because I am a big fan of those divider things. And usually I would do something like swirly and pretty right here. But like I said, wrapping this baby up. So we got stuff to do, guys. Stuff to do today. And so I'm creating a little circle there. And I'm going to go to Layer Style, Blending Options, Bevel and Emboss. And let's play. So we're going to contour and texture. And we're going to size it up. Boom. Soften that baby. Let me see. No. There. Ta-da. We like that. Yes, we do. Look at that. Do I want to go satin? No, I don't. Inner glow? No. Outer glow? No. Okay. Ta-da. And we're going to duplicate. You're feeling it. Yes, girl. This is actually kind of like a cool little metal button thing. I'm feeling that. Yes, I am. 1, 2, and 3. Put that in a folder. I'm going to move it down a little bit. And then I'm actually going to open that up because I want to duplicate one of those and bring it up and out. There we go. And let's just, where did it go? Hello, what's happening? Don't know what's happening. Well, I was going to put it over on the other side, but you know what? It's okay. It's okay. Let me just duplicate this. And one more time, try to bring this up. I see what happened. Let me bring you up to the top, please. It was under my layer is the problem. There it is. Okay. So at this point, we're going to go 1, 2, and I'm going to reduce the size. Oh, that is too far. Yes, okay. So I'm going to angle that just like that and bring it down here. Coolness, we like that. 1, 2, 3. Put it in a folder. We're going to call this corner. And we are going to do some duplicating, because duplicating is the best. Put that there, and then I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees counterclockwise. And then I'm going to duplicate both of those and flip it vertical. And drag it down to the bottom corner. That's awesome. I am liking this. Yes, I am. I feel like I a little bit want to bring a little more of that light in there. So let me just add a layer quick. I'm going to grab my gradient tool, and I'm just going to reinforce that light leak from the top. And it's just going to take a second. You like those in the corner? It's nice, right? I usually like to do things that are fancy on stuff. And so, oh, I see. Let's see what I did. I just gotta reduce my opacity a touch there. There we go. Cool. So then I would actually go through and do some cool stuff on the background, but I'm calling this a day. We're gonna run with this, baby. Yes, oh yes, we are. So, final thoughts. Do we like this? I think it's pretty cool, right? I'm gonna go ahead and save this. Did I save that properly? I hope so. I hope so, because I changed things. So we're just going to save that right there. And there you go. That is Transfixed, about a girl who apparently tangles with some books, and it becomes an issue, and things happen. Fun times, right? Fun times. Okay. Thank you guys so much for joining me. The speed edit of this will be up probably later today. And we'll have some stuff out on social media. As always, you can come hang out with me over on any of my platforms. So you can hang out with me here on K.m. Robinson Photography. If you are a photographer who wants to learn how to do social media to market your photography business, we also teach things like doing Photoshop and all of those other lovely necessary, going to say necessity, that's not right, necessary things that you need to survive as a photographer. So we're doing all sorts of fun and fabulous things here at k.m. Robinson Photography. You can also join me at Reading Transforms if you are one of my authors. We are teaching on social media marketing strategy for authors. We talk all about everything you need to know: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, Periscope, YouTube, Pinterest, your newsletter, your blog, and your website. Just come hang out with me. It's really awesome. Lots and lots of fun. You can also hang out with me at K.m. Robinson Books, because I am an author who can't get control of her books here. Here we go. I am the author of the Golden Trilogy and the Data Duology, and I would love for you to come hang out with me at K.m. Robinson Books on all the social media platforms, or at Reading Transforms, or at K.m. Robinson Photography. You can hang out with me anywhere. I'm all over the place, and I'm there all the time. So come hang out with me, ask your questions, and let's chat. Even if you haven't read my books, even if you don't follow my photography, whatever, come hang out because I like to make friends. Thanks so much for joining me. I am K.m. Robinson, photographer, author, which I can't get my titles right. Wow. Photographer, author, social media marketing strategist, and all around quirky person on the internet. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks so much for joining me. I really appreciate you hanging out with me. And if you have requests for next week when we do this, because we do this every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we create a fine art composite image, usually composite image. Otherwise, it's just pretty fine art stuff. And then we turn it into a book cover. I would love to see you guys here. So if you've got suggestions or questions about what we could be doing next time, go ahead and let me know in those comments below. And I will see you guys next week for this particular segment. And I will also be seeing you guys for all of my other live broadcasts over at K.m. Robinson Photography and K.m. Robinson Books and Reading Transforms, because I am live all the time. You guys have a fantastic day and stay inspired.